Hi, my daughter here. Say hi.
Hi.
They don't need to see you. We're gonna cut that out. We're going to get started. Have you ever felt perfectly fine all week, walked into the doctor's office and sat on that crinkly paper, and suddenly your heart is pounding like a drum solo? Your palms are sweaty, your breath gets shallow, and you just know the blood pressure cuff is about to tell a story of pure panic. And you're not crazy. This actually has a name. It's white coat syndrome. It's a real documented phenomenon where your blood pressure spikes only in a clinical setting. But here's what most people don't tell you. White coat syndrome isn't a flaw. It's not a sign you're bad at being a patient. It's actually a profound message from your body's survival system. Therefore, today we're not just going to talk about what it is. We're going to understand the story your nervous system is telling. And I'm going to give you holistic, practical tools to rewrite that story. This isn't about tricking the machine. It's about calming the incredibly intelligent creature inside you that feels alert. Wagwan folks, I'm your girl Tamika G, holistic wellness consultant, coach, herbalist, and with my LPN background, I'm bridging the gap between health and wellness. So, current status is actually water. I'm actually recording this video a lot later than when I usually record, so I already had my tea and I didn't feel like making another cup just for a video. Plus, truth be told, I haven't been the greatest with my water intake lately, and it's showing in my breast milk because I am currently still breastfeeding. Plus, I do go through periods where I decrease the amount of tea that I have in a day to focus on hydration. So, more water, and it's either going to be plain with cucumbers or lemons. I like my water room temperature, especially after learning in many traditional medicine systems like Chinese medicine, they prefer it for internal health. And did you know that water can actually improve your focus, alert, concentration, short-term memory loss, and stabilizes mood, as dehydration may cause all those symptoms and more. So drink your water, either natural spring water, coconut water. Those should be your top two, only two. Okay, so let's rewind. Your body has a brilliant autonomic system, the sympathetic nervous system, or your fight or flight response. Like we spoke about many times before in previous videos, there is a threat and it triggers an instant cascade. Heart rate goes up, blood pressure goes up, muscle tense, all of these to run or fight. And your brain's threat radar is incredibly sophisticated. It can tag things that aren't physically dangerous as threats based on memory, story, and emotion. A past painful experience, fear, or bad news, the smell of an antiseptic, even the symbolic power of the white coat syndrome itself. Therefore, when you walk into the exam room, your primal brain can whisper, this is a threat zone. No tiger, no physical threat, just a thermometer and maybe a blood pressure cuff. But the body obeys the old command. Pressure rises, and it's a physiological story of anxiety. So the goal isn't to fight the response. Fighting is the response. The goal is to train your nervous system to see the clinic not as a threat zone, but as a neutral or even safe space. We do this by speaking the language of the other side of the nervous system, the parasympathetic, or your rest and digest state. So here is your holistic toolkit. So part one, before the appointment. So we're going to talk about this like as a story. The story begins days before you go to your appointment. And yes, you might dread the appointment. You might be carrying the weight of what if they find something. But your job is not to predict the future. Your job is to tend to your present state nervous system. Therefore, practice this. Number one, a narrative rehearsal. For 5 minutes each day before your visit, sit quietly, close your eyes, and imagine the appointment, but imagine it with a new script. See yourself calm, breathing easily, picture the nurse smiling, feel the cuff inflate, and imagine your arm relax. your breath steady. Visualize hearing your pressure looks great. You are rehearsing safety. You're telling your brain a new story. Number 2, we have herbal allies. For a week leading up to your appointment, consider gentle nervous system tonics. A daily cup of oat straw tea is like liquid courage for your nerves, and it strengthens. You can also use skullcap, which is great for racing thoughts. It smooths overstimulation and tension while restoring the system, or chamomile, perfect for nervous stomach or tension held in the gut. These aren't sedatives, they're adaptogens that help your body adapt to stress. Again, disclaimer, always check with your doctor before starting new herbs. Then we have Act 2, the day of, setting the atmosphere within. It's the day of the appointment and you might feel the old anxieties start to buzz. But you now have the most powerful portable tool ever created, your breath. Therefore, practice 4-7-8 breathing. Inhale through your nose for a count of 4. Hold for 7 seconds. Exhale slowly through your mouth for a count of 8. This is not just taking a deep breath. This specific ratio chemically signals your vagus nerves, the command center of your rest and digest system. That is all well. It overrides the panic signal. Number 2, ground through your senses. In the waiting room, play the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 game. Find 5 things you can see, 4 things you can feel. So the chair, your shoes, your phone. 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste. This pulls you out of the scary story in your head and into the safe present moment. I actually really enjoy playing that game. I used to play it all the time when I was on the bus going to and from school when I had a lot of anxiety, and it actually really helped. Then we have Act 3, in the room. You're in the room, a conversation starts, and it's time for vitals. And the impulse to tense up, to watch the dial, to brace for a result. But bracing is the threat response. Your only task is to be a kind, gentle host to your own body. Therefore, number 1, advocate and redirect. As the nurse prepares or doctor prepares, say this. Just so you know, I sometimes get white coat syndrome. I'm going to do a breathing exercise to get a more accurate reading. This does 2 things. It takes the performance pressure off and it gives you permission to focus inward. Number 2, the exhalation trick. This is something that I don't know if most people know, but as the cuff is inflating or tightening on your arm, do not hold your breath. Instead, focus on a long, slow, silent exhale. Imagine you're breathing through a thin straw. Imagine your breath flowing down into your feet, grounding you. Your blood pressure is naturally lowest on the exhale. You are gently guiding your blood pressure there. Number 3, dangle your arms. Before they put the cuff on, shake out your arms and shoulders. Let them dangle by your side for maybe about 30 seconds. This releases tension you might not be aware that you're holding in your trapezius muscle, which are directly connected to your stress response. And as little as these may sound, I have seen them work multiple times in the clinic setting. I have dealt with clients who have white coat syndrome, who, especially before taking their blood pressure, does the breathing technique that I recommend. And we do notice a decrease in their blood pressure. It's not as low as it would be when they're at home, but it is definitely lower than when they don't do the breathing exercise. So, Act 4, why this matters for your overall wellness. Now, you might be thinking this is helpful for the doctor's visit, but why does it really matter in the big picture? And it's easy to dismiss white coat syndrome as just nerves or a minor inconvenience, but holistically, how you show up to the doctor is a mirror for how you show up to basically your entire life. The single phenomenon acts as a window, a domino, and a wedge in your overall wellness journey. So let me explain. First, it's a window into your nervous system's baseline. If your blood pressure spikes 20 or 30 points just from sitting in a waiting room, it does raise a vital question. What else is your body treating as a threat? Your nervous system does not differentiate between a scary diagnosis and a stressful commute a tense conversation, or scrolling through alarming news. If your baseline is fight or flight, your body is consistently marinating in stress hormones. And we already know that is not good for the body. Therefore, white coat syndrome is more than a doctor's visit issue. Addressing it doesn't just lower your reading at the clinic, it can recalibrate your entire stress set point across sleep, boundaries, nutrition, and emotional regulation. Second, it's a domino effect that affects medical trust and long-term health. When your reading spikes, you may leave feeling ashamed or mislabeled, and that shame often leads to avoidance. Many people skip annual physicals, they delay investigating symptoms. Small treatable issues grow into chronic conditions, all because the doctor's office became a trauma trigger rather than a safe space. Therefore, understanding white coat syndrome is an act of preventative medicine. When you learn to manage it, you remove the barrier between you and the care you deserve. You stop avoiding and start showing up. Third, it's a wedge that separates you from your own health data. Holistic health is built on self-awareness. You can't heal what you can't see clearly. White coat syndrome skews your most basic data. You may walk away believing you have hypertension, maybe be given medication, when you actually just have situational anxiety, which needs to be treated on its own. Or worse, you may dismiss a genuine issue because it's probably just white coat syndrome. It can go both ways, and I've seen them both. So it's super important to get a proper baseline. Addressing this gives you back clarity. Through home monitoring and a calm environment and learning to calm your nervous system, you reclaim accurate data. And accurate data is power. It allows you to partner with your healthcare provider from a place of confidence, not confusion or avoidance. And finally, it's a mirror for the mind-body connection. White coat syndrome is one of the purest, simplest of the mind-body connection in action. A thought creates a physical reality. A memory lives in the tissue and gets activated by a smell or a setting. But so many people spend their lives trying to think their way out of physical symptoms or medicate symptoms without addressing the underlying story. Therefore, working with white coat syndrome holistically teaches a skill that applies to everything. The ability to listen to your own body's signal without being hijacked by them. You learn to notice tension, breathe into, and choose a different response. That skill translates to a better stress management, deeper emotional regulation, and a profound sense of autonomy over your own health. White coat syndrome is a story of the body trying to protect itself, basically. And although it may or may not take time to get used to, you are no longer the passive character in that story. You are the author with a whole toolkit of holistic practices, from herbal supports to narrative rehearsals to breathing work and grounding. And when you heal this one point of friction, when you stop bracing and start breathing, you don't just get a better blood pressure reading. You're doing something far deeper. You're sending a message to every cell in your body: I am safe. I am my own ally. Your next appointment isn't a test of your health. It's a practice session for your nervous system's resilience. Walk in knowing you carry your own peace with you. You are not just a patient. You are the active participant in your own well-being. So start acting like it. Remember, be kind to yourself. Peace and love always. Was that good?
Yeah, it was.